Hello and welcome to the Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union's annual meeting. Your attendance here today in person and virtually is important as a member owner. In front of you, or as a link in your email invite for those virtually attending, you'll find a copy of our annual report that provides a high-level recap of the impact we made in 2020. During this meeting, myself and others will share more detail on how your credit union helped members through the pandemic and continued to grow. Few housekeeping items before we begin. For those attending virtually, please use the chat feature to share any questions or comments. They will be relayed to the speaker and read into the microphone for all of us to hear. For those that are here in the room, to maintain social distancing, there are bright colored sheets at your table for you to write down any comments or questions. Then hold them up, and a staff member will collect them and bring them to the speaker to read and answer. We'll begin today with our prizes. Names were randomly selected from those who RSVP'd by the deadline of May 10th for the annual meeting. This year's winners of a milestone insulated mug or a $50 Visa gift card can be seen on the screen. Those attending in person were given your prize when you entered. Those virtually attending, the prize will be mailed to you. We have one final prize, or two final prizes, for the members attending the annual meeting who've been a member the longest and the shortest amount of time. In the room, there is a full sheet of paper where you can largely write the years, months, or days you've been a member and your name on it and hold it up. So it's the blue sheet. It looks like this. And then they'll collect that. Virtually, please use the chat feature with your name and length of time that you've been a member. So I'll give you a couple minutes to write down that for now. Okay, thank you for all your submissions. And we have both winners in the room. So as I call your name, if you would please come forward to receive your prize. The member that is the newest is Darwin Osbold. Darwin, you would come forward? One month. And for the longest, we had a tie. Gary Hollingsworth and Vern Martin, 55 years. If they would both please come forward. And these are our commemorative cups for 50,000 members that we've had this year. What sets Mid-Minnesota apart from other financial institutions is that you, our member owner, has a vested interest in our success. Any profits are returned to our membership in the forms of higher dividend rates, lower interest rates on loans, additional technology, and growth in service areas. We can accomplish this through our expert staff and dedicated volunteers. MMFCU's Board of Directors is made up of members who volunteer their time to keep a service philosophy in focus in everything that we do. The guidelines they use for doing this are the credit union core values of integrity, personal responsibility, sense of community, and teamwork. Please hold your applause until I have recognized all of these following volunteers. Theresa Goble, our board chair. Rhonda Smith, first vice chair. Angela Roby, second vice chair. Todd Fromming, secretary. Jeff Gorban, director. Mark Corwin-Kaczynski, director. Greg Lang, director. Mike Paulus, director, and Jeff Torpin, director. Please join me in a round of applause. One of the other key differences between a credit union and a bank is the credit unions elect members to serve on board of directors in various committees. These elected officials are unpaid. They are volunteer representatives of the membership at large. Mid-Minnesota is also guided by our Supervisory Committee. If you are a member of the Supervisory Committee, would you please stand, please? Let's give them a round of applause. We also have community advisory councils in all of our various communities that we serve. And so I know a number of them are actually within those branch locations, but if there are any from the Brainerd Baxter area, if you would please stand as well right now. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Lastly, we have a Technology Advisory Council whose purpose is to enhance the Mid-Minnesota digital member experience. So if you're a member of the Technology Advisory Council, would you please stand, please? Thank you. If you're interested in volunteering in any of these committees, just please let me know. And now I'd like to introduce our board chair, Theresa Goble.
Thank you, Chuck. It is my privilege to call to order the annual meeting of Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. The purpose of this meeting is to give us, as members and owners, the opportunity to learn more about the financial condition of our credit union, and to determine what is best for the future for our continued growth and success. Your questions are welcome at any time. As Chuck has mentioned, if you're virtually, use the chat feature. If you're in the room, the green sheets of paper, hold it up and it'll be collected. Has the first vice chair established whether there is a quorum present?
Ms. Chairwoman, there are 78 members in attendance in person and at least 21 members attending virtually, so a quorum has been established.
Thank you, Rhonda. I will entertain a motion to dispense with the readings of the minutes from our last annual meeting. Is there a second? Motion's been made and second to dispense with the readings from the last annual meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. I will now take this opportunity to share with you my report. It is my honor and privilege to share with you a few of the highlights from 2020, a year that could not have been anticipated, and yet by staying anchored on our mission of improving the financial well-being of our members and living our core values of personal responsibility, integrity, sense of community, and teamwork, your credit union thrived. In 2020, the following are ways we supported member owners who were experiencing a financial hardship. 76 mortgage agreements were modified to accommodate a temporary inability to pay. 1,564 loan payments were skipped. Nearly $11 million was secured in Paycheck Protection Program loans, commonly known as PPP, for 261 local businesses in the community to serve so that they could keep their employees working and their businesses open. Last year, we also continued to grow, strengthening the credit union for all. Member owners saved nearly $1.3 million in fees and interest in refinancing loans and opening accounts with Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. We supported 102 local community organizations with $99,000 in donations. Early in 2021, Mid-Minnesota reached a milestone growth levels of serving 50,000 member owners and them entrusting us with $500 million of their assets to manage. Our 50,000th member, Roberto, became a member owner by financing a 2010 Dodge Ram 1500 bought at a local dealership, Motors and More. He had done some research online looking for a vehicle that was four-wheel drive and found one right across from where he is assigned as an active Army at the Reserve Center in Brainerd. Roberto worked with Jeff Ward, co-owner of Motors and More, who shared the ease of loan application and approval process available by financing on the spot with Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. Our 80-plus dealer partners are an important way to serve our communities and grow in the number of members we serve. Due to working hard, Roberto improved his credit score over the last 3 years to 759. He was approved. He not only became an owner of a pickup truck, but also a member owner of Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. This story of our 50,000th member represents many things that are great about our credit union. Community partners, easy access for services, and recognizing members who are working to improve their financial well-being. I have proudly served on your board of directors since 2011 and am grateful for the opportunity to represent all 50,000 plus members. Please let me know, does anyone have any questions on any of the updates that we have provided? If not, thank you. I'd like to call on Chuck for his president's message.
Thank you, Theresa. And before I get started on my message, there was a question of how many locations do we have in Minnesota now? So we have 10 locations, plus of course the drive-up facility that's in Brainerd here as well. And as an information piece, we are working on the 11th full service that we hope to have open by the year end, which we've expanded our field of membership to the Otter County. And so we'll be serving folks in that county. So more to come, and more you'll hear about that in next year. In 2020, the board and executive management shifted our focus from 5 strategic initiatives to 3 strategic initiatives in different areas through 2023. And those 3 are leadership, expansion, and experience. And leadership is defined as Mid-Minnesota has a supportive leadership team, CEO, executive management team, and board that encourages new ideas, develops employees, and continues to promote a strong Mid-Minnesota culture. Expansion is defined as Mid-Minnesota has received approval, researched, branch product, service structure, and through budget considerations, has strengthened net worth to safely and effectively expand into new geographic locations. Evidence of this strategic focus is the field of membership expansion to Otter County, which we were approved for at the end of 2020. We're presently working on trying to secure a lease on a site in that area. Experience, strategic focus ensures a consistent, easy, and quality member experience across all delivery channels. We exist to serve our member owners, so it is fitting that we have the most initiatives to ensure MMFCU achieves this strategic direction, including a focus on online applications, our websites, service training, and new services like a debit card option to round up transactions to build your savings or donate to a local charity. Experience focus also includes our physical offices. In 2020, we completed a remodel of the Brainerd 5th location. Member owners benefit from parking next to the building, providing a safer access for all and better handicap accessibility. Inside, we created a more privacy with enclosed offices when members are meeting with staff, as well as more open space and improved security. I'm so proud of what Mid-Minnesota and what we have accomplished in 2020 and already in 2021. I want you to know that your money is safe and secure, and we're dedicated to serving you and your community, and our future is solid. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Bill Bailey, the chairman of the Supervisory Committee, with the report of the Auditor.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending in person and virtually. It's great to see all of these faces. Financial statement audit was performed as of December 31, 2020. There were no findings or issues encountered during the audit. The audit firm has issued an unqualified opinion, which is the highest form of assurance that they can give. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. There being no old business to report from our previous meeting, we will proceed to new business. Is there any new business to come before the membership? Thank you. If not, I'd now like to introduce Mike Paulus of the board's nominating committee.
The nominating committee reports that we have received no new additional nominations from the membership. Our nominees, Mark Corwin-Kaczynski, Greg Lang, and Angela Roby, are elected to 3-year terms on our board of directors.
Thank you, Mike. This is a different part of the meeting right now. In early 2021, we said goodbye to a dear friend, Carol Tower. I miss Carol Tower. She was a positive and energetic person to be around, even though I knew there were times that she was not feeling her best. We had many spirited conversations about her Cornhuskers and my Minnesota Gophers. I never did recruit her. In my travels to conferences for the credit union board, she was wonderful. And I know all board members who travel to conferences, which is we have to do in order to maintain our educational standards, knew that she paid attention to every little detail that made travel a joy and not a worry about rooms and transportation. It will be hard to replace her at the credit union. When I traveled with her to Washington, D.C. last February, I was so impressed by her advocacy for the credit union movement and how many people at that event knew her and knew of her passion for credit unions. My heart felt sympathy to her family. I miss Carol Tower. Chuck?
The Mid-Minnesota Credit Union staff and board put together a memory book as part of our healing process and to share with her husband Jim and Haley and Brianna of how Carol touched our lives. For 14 years, Carol was a caregiver for Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. In her role as executive assistant, she was my ears when I needed to reflect, and never did she cast judgment. Carol had an interest in everyone she met. She made everyone feel important. And she represented the true meaning of being a servant. Whenever a situation arose, Carol would always volunteer to help. She demonstrated significant personal responsibility in how she took great pride in her work. Carol's efforts as our grassroots coordinator set an example for political advocacy both within MMFCU and the Minnesota Credit Union Network. She is and will be missed. So with that, I'd like to present to Jim and Haley and Brianna. And now I'd like to call Mark Cummins to the front.
Well, thank you, Chuck, and thank you to all of you for allowing me to attend the meeting. My name is Mark Cummins. I'm president of the Minnesota Credit Union Network, and we're your statewide trade association for the credit unions in Minnesota. And let me first of all thank you, or say congratulations rather, for your accomplishments this past year. It's always fun to see that, and most of all, I really want to thank you for this incredible excuse to get out of St. Paul and come north and find real people again to talk to and interact with. As you know, the state legislature concluded on Monday because the law requires them to, but there's a lot of work left for them to do. And that's a big part of what we do as your trade association, is to represent the interests of Minnesota credit unions at the state capitol in St. Paul, and also in Washington, D.C. with our elected officials. You know, our mission is very much coincides then with the mission that was stated here for Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. And let me just kind of lay the land just a little bit. In Minnesota now, there are 98 credit unions. And in those 98 credit unions, there are 1.9 million people in the state of Minnesota that are members of a Minnesota-based credit union. Those members then have entrusted over $23 billion on a statewide basis to us to manage for them. And through that, we have 5,000 employees of credit unions throughout the state that do just that manage the assets for our membership. Our goal for Network is to transport, if you will, that 1.9 million members, which represents a third of the population of the state of Minnesota, to 50% of the population in Minnesota by the year 2030. And so your goal and your recognition of achieving a 50,000 member, it very much coincides with our overall goal. We feel that this mission of being a not-for-profit financial institution is resonating today. And the more that we talk about that, and the more that we encourage, and the more that you talk to your peers about that, then people should want to join and participate and be part of that. You know, one of the ways that we feel that for your trade association that we can help to embody that and to move that forward too is, and we have, you know, three primary tenets as well. You'll notice this alignment in so many ways. One is advocacy, and that's what you've heard me mention already. One is working around collaboration, to work with credit unions and to work with each other and encourage that ongoing collaboration. Another one is acceleration, to provide the products and services and those things that credit unions need in order to prepare for the future, to be ready and provide those services that attract more members to participate. Our foundation that we have at the network is a critical aspect of that, of how we interact with our communities. And really the mission of the foundation is to help Minnesota's communities grow and to thrive. And with that, one of the ways that we do that is we provide a variety of grants, both for community partnerships, for professional development of credit union employees, also though to ensure financial inclusion for folks that find those opportunities to invite more people into membership. We also are very active in fundraising for Gillette's Children's Specialty Care in St. Paul, and provide a number of scholarships as well through the various committees that are part of the foundation. Credit unions fund that work. One of the ways that is funded is through a recognition program that we call the Credit Union Builder. And in St. Paul, you see on the screen in our office the recognition of folks that are recognized by you by contributions that are made by the credit union to recognize individuals that have made a difference into the credit union. You can see from here, that's a small partial. We have so many names. There's 76 names on the wall in there, and we've had to add more space on there because our main lobby wall didn't hold them all. So now it concludes and continues down the hallway. Carol Tower is one of those 76 people that have been recognized through the generous support of Mid-Minnesota Credit Union. You know, those folks really represent a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. One is through the leadership that they have. So some are leaders. You know, some really are support that help to make that leadership possible. frankly, some people that are on the wall are doers. Don't blame me, and I'm proud of it. Some of them are actually elected officials that have helped us to do the work that we need to do, that provide the capacities to expand Minnesota's credit union's capabilities to provide products and services. Out of that group, my favorite, frankly, are the doers that keep their head down, do things, make sure things get done. Don't look for recognition. Only look for the possibility to move things forward and to make a difference and to be a positive influence in the credit union movement. That I think really reflects Carol Tower in every possible way. When my dad was a school administrator, a college administrator, he wasn't he was a good disciplinarian, not necessarily much for advice. But, through observation, I really learned lessons in terms of business from this particular way. One was, if you want to really know what's going on in a building, you need to be nice to the security people. And then someday that you're going to forget something and you need to get back in there and you don't have a pass, you don't have a key, you don't have your cell phone or your wallet, you need to know those people so that you can get in. Another group is you have to know the custodians. You have to be nice, but you also have to know them because they're the ones that know what's going on in the building in every place. Most importantly, now remember the generational difference here, you have to get to know the secretaries on a personal basis. Now, we don't say secretary anymore, and for good reason. And I don't think that's a term that really would encompass anything close to what Carol Tower did for all of us and for mid-Minnesota. We talk about administrative assistants, and that's justified. I don't even know that the assistant part is necessarily the right word. It's probably in Carol's place, it's just the administrator. Quite honestly, as you're a trade association, it was mentioned about her being really the shining example, and really true, the shining example of what a grassroots coordinator should be. So a grassroots coordinator would be the one that we would work with, of encouraging political participation, whether it's financially, a political action fund, whether that is asking people to be enrolled in our grassroots education and action team, which is referred to as GREAT. With that, we had a goal of every employee and 2% of the member of GREAT so that we could communicate directly with you to encourage you to participate. And that Mid-Minnesota was the very first credit union that ever achieved that goal of getting there. And really that was because of the work and passion of Carol Tower. Now, to be honest with you, no offense to Chuck or any other staff that is here, if we wanted something done, and we wanted something to be helped, we called Carol. And we didn't, no, please don't take any offense to that. Frankly, if we wanted something pretty much done in central Minnesota overall, we called Carol. And it got done. If you made the connection, you knew that whatever that was needed to be done. And I mentioned that my favorite of the group that's recognized is the doers. There's people when you come into a room, you don't care whatever room it is, when you come into the room and it's for some function, whatever the function is, you look and say, there's going to be a few people that you're kind of like, oh no. And then there's a few other people that, oh, thank goodness, that they're in Carol Towers in the thank goodness category for whatever room I walked into. Because when Carol was present, you knew things were organized. There was an agenda. It was going to be done on time. And if Mark talked too long, Carol was going to come up and yank me off the stage and move forward. And I think I probably have hit that point. But Carol was just the example that all of us strive to achieve, being not exceptionally competent in what she did, but doing it with fun, making you feel that it was fun. There are two things that I hold against Carol. There's a picture of Carol in her Nebraska gear. They're pretty new to the Big 12. Now, I'm a graduate of the University of Colorado. I go back to the days of the Big 8. Nebraska was one of the 8. Nebraska was from the University of Colorado, primarily because they just killed us. If we picked on them as a rival and we could actually beat Nebraska, we actually made a statement at that point. So I grew up with a passion against the Big Red. And as much as I really like Carol, I can't get over that part. I'm just telling you right now, just to be fair and to be equitable about. The other part I mentioned earlier at our table is Carol encouraged Chuck for me to facilitate a strategic planning session for mid-Minnesota, and that's not my thing. It was a weak moment when I said yes to that. I can talk about credit unions all you want and how things are going in Minnesota, but facilitating a planning session, not my forte. I forgive Carol for all of that because everything else about Carol Tower is just exemplary, and what a wonderful person. So it's with great pleasure that I have the honor of giving to Jim and the girls and the family the plaque in recognition of Carol being a credit union builder for the state of Minnesota. And as you saw before, of her name on the wall in the Minnesota Credit Union Network offices. We're so proud to have her name amongst the list of the other 75. So Jim, Chuck, how do you want to do that?
I'll be quick, and I'll do this for my dad because I don't think he could. So on behalf of my dad, my sister, and myself, thank you. For the better part of the last, 14 years, I think we said, my mom spent the majority of her time passionately advocating on behalf of the needs of credit unions. You gave her a drive and a reason to truly enjoy the work she did, and we are so grateful to have even had a glimpse into that. We've each had our trips to Washington, D.C., and we knew how much she really enjoyed being there and how passionate she was. I know that I'll never make the mistake of saying that I'm going to the bank ever again, thanks to her. And for always correcting me and telling me it's a credit union and member-owned. You were so good to her for so many years, and you could have asked for anything more, and we'll be thankful to you always. Thank you. And she'd like me to say, go Big Red.
Okay, sure. Let's see here. Excuse me for just a second here. Okay. I just want to say thank you to all the member owners, those of you that are here in person and those of you that joined us virtually. Thank you for joining us today. I am looking for a motion to adjourn. And a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried. Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union's 65th annual meeting is adjourned. Thank you.